2011. I will be talking about an artist called Dorothea Tanning, who was a well-known artist in the Surrealism era. Dorothea Tanning was an American painter, sculptor, writer, and poet. She was born and raised in Galesburg, Illinois. She was born on 25th of January 1910 and passed away on 31st January of 2012. She was one of the most notable artists in the Surrealist movement, alongside artists such as Salvador Dali, Pablo Picasso, and Max Ernst, whom she married in 1946. Tanning was first drawn to Surrealism after visiting the exhibition Fantastic Art, 𝘷𝘪𝘷𝘳 Surrealism, which was in 1936 and 1937 at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Tanning attended Knox College in her hometown before studying painting in Chicago. In 1941, which she is now in New York, she met an art dealer called Julian Levy and his Surrealist friends who are refugees from Nazi-occupied France. In the late 1942, Max Ernst visited her studio, saw a painting of hers which was birthday, and stayed to play chess. They would spend 34 years together, which at first was in Sedona, Arizona. Though Max Ernst died on April 1st, 1976, and Tanning had to face a solitary future. Now, I will talk about one of her most well-known paintings called 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘦, which she did back in 1943. 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘦 is a relatively early work for Tanning, painted with figurative perfection and an obvious closeness to surrealist themes. Set in the hallway of a hotel or a large grand house, the title of the work was inspired by Mozart's composition of the same title, A Little Night Music. Knowing that it is nocturnal scene, we immediately associate the picture with a dream. There are two little girls, one who has come across a giant sunflower on the floor, and another who leans against a door, eyes closed, holding one of the sunflower's petals. One of the girls has hair that flies upwards, becoming tower-like caught in the wind, while the other girl recalls controversial sculptures by Hans Bellmer, as her hair unusually doesn't quite meet her forehead, making one question whether she is in fact human or a doll. Three doors remains closed, whilst one is cracked to reveal a bright light. This painting of hers shows a clear reference of her childhood. Along with her sisters, she lived a pretty much Midwestern American environment life and having a rich fantasy life by means of escape. Sunflower is a common flower in her hometown, thus it shows a symbol of her identity. In a painting that she did later on called Palestra in 1949, the children are dressed in elaborate silks that were favored by Tanning's mother. In both of the paintings, the girls have their tops unbuttoned, adding eroticism and sexual intrigue to each images. Tanning herself said about 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘦 that it is about confrontation. While they don't always have giant sunflowers to contend with, there are always terraces, hallways, even private theaters where suffocations and the finalities are being played out. The blood-red carpet or cruel yellows the attacker, the delighted victim. Though the message here is not that there is a literal attack to overcome, but rather an ongoing expedition to survive one's own intense psychology. The motif of closed eyes reveal that it is an inward story here at play, and the painting in composition was likely inspired by Pierre Roy's Danger on the Stairs, 1927, that Tanning would have seen in New York at the Fantastic Art and Surrealism exhibition in 1936. Now, onto another one of her artworks. As I mentioned before, she was also a sculptor. And now I will talk about one of her most famous sculpture called 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘦, which she did in 1969 to 1970. 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘦 introduces her weighty, contorted, and headless figures. Although the title translates to reclining nude, the work stands in defiant subversion to the traditional languid and passive reclining female sitter of classical painting. The sculpture resolutely confronts outdated fantasy projections of the female body and instead presents a woman entangled and overcome by complex and invisible interior psychic forces. Tanning uses table tennis balls to highlight the delicate backbone and pink fabric to evoke a fleshy bodily mass, at once heavy, anthropomorphic, and still the form also lies vulnerable, creaturely, and ready to scurry or shuffle away. Now that is all from me. Thank you.